You broke his chair. No.
Now rolling.
All of a sudden it's quiet, right?
Oh, thank you.
All right, Opie.
All right. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing?
Good.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. I know there's other stuff you could have been doing, but I want to thank you for taking the time to be here with us tonight. Whether you're here as a friend coming to support somebody or a client coming to review the ideas we have shared, or simply help us with the growth of our company, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here with us. Tonight, you're going to hear from several speakers. The first speaker you're going to hear from is Sue Tudell. Sue Tudell is going to talk to you about a problem that's happening across America right now, a problem that's real. And then the next speaker is going to come up is Wade Skolsky, and Wade Skolsky is going to talk to you about a solution to that problem that we feel is not only needed but vital right now. And then the last speaker is going to be Robin Sears. Robin Sears is going to close out the meeting, bring everything together, talk to you about the opportunities we have in front of us. So please help me welcome Sue Tudell.
Great. Thanks. Hi, everyone. You already know who I am. We did a great job introducing us all. So one of the things I want to talk to you guys about tonight is why in the world you are here. Because that would be a really good question, right? And I'm guessing that a lot of people, somebody asked you, somebody said, you know what, I'd love to have you come. I'd love to have you come and support what I'm doing, understand what I'm doing. And so they got you here. So you might be someone in their family, you might be a friend, you might be a client, you might be someone in the community. So welcome everybody. And as Ubi said, he promised that I would talk to you about a problem. And obviously out there's more than one problem. But one of the biggest problems that we've discovered has to do with money. Would everyone agree with that?
No.
If we don't have it, we have a huge problem. But when we're talking about money, we know a few things. One of the things that we absolutely know is there's different groups of people. The main group of people. The top group of people is what we call the wealthy. Anybody heard of them before? Yeah. I have. Anybody want to be the wealthy? I do. I do. Reality, I'm not. Not at this point. Not yet. But I'm planning on that. That's absolutely happening. So let's talk about the wealthy for just a second. First of all, why would we want to be there? To me, it's because if they can do what they want, when they want, any way that they want to do it, I kind of want to have that. And I don't mean that it needs to be frivolous or anything like that, but there's some real things that money can provide for you. So when we're talking about the wealthy, there's some things that we know about them. The first thing is that education is pretty much institutionalized in this group of people. What do I mean by that? Well, their kids are going to college. And pretty much the parents probably went to college. And I'm betting you the grandparents went to college. So it becomes institutionalized. It's habitual. It's generation after generation after generation. It's just what they do. Everyone agree with that one? We probably pretty, and you know what? They get to go to the best schools around too. Harvards and Yales and Stanfords. And it's awesome. Well, we also know that they have opportunity and ownership. The wealthy own. Now, they may own a business. You know, Robin was talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and I found it so interesting, and I just kind of put it in the back of my head, and I said, I'm going to talk about this for a minute. Everybody knows about the corporate ladder, right? And we're all trying to climb the corporate ladder. And everyone, if you close your eyes, you can picture climbing a corporate ladder. Well, the wealthy own the corporate ladder. Pretty interesting way to define it, but it's true. But not all of them have a business. Maybe they own real estate. Maybe they just have a lot of money. Maybe they have a trust fund. But reality is they own something so that they're not worried about where their next dollar's coming from. Okay? Financial freedom. I've already talked about that. Coming and going in any way or any style that you want to come and go in. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean traveling all over the country or traveling all over the world. It might mean that. It might mean buying a house you want or sending your kids to the college of your choice. But you know what? It can mean a lot of other things too. What if it just meant giving? It was funny. I was just talking to Rod, in fact, about one of my friends that has a nonprofit. They have an orphanage in Kenya. And they work really hard to make sure that these kids get the education. And they're pretty much all girls, because in that area of the world, girls don't get the education that the boys can get. But how awesome would it be to be able just to write a check and say, you don't have to worry about the expenses for the next year. It's taken care of. Focus on what you're doing. To me, that would be amazing. But not only that, a lot of people go, well, wait a second, that's over in another part of the world. What about here? Well, you know what? In Santa Clarita Valley, the homeless shelter is only open for a few months every year. Why? Not enough money to run it. How would it feel to be able to write that check and say, no, stay open all 12 months. It's needed out here. That's what I'm talking about, financial freedom. Coming and going as you want, traveling whenever you want, giving whenever you want, that's freedom. Okay? And then financial advice. Well, the wealthy have all the financial advice in the world. And a lot of times we say, why? Well, I think we pretty much know why. It's where all the money is. And so the advice is going to be there. And it's not just any old advice. It's top-notch advice. So they're going to get to where they want to go. And again, all four of these things are pretty much institutionalized in this group of people. Passed down from generation to generation to generation. If you asked them about some of those things, honestly, some of them would go, I have no idea. It's just what we do. It just is. Well, there's another group of people also called the not so wealthy or the financially dependent. Okay, well, we're in America. And in America, we really feel that a segment of our population shouldn't go without. We want to give them every ability to move on up that social ladder. So we do things like free preschools, college grants, financial support, opportunities. And you guys all know these things. If you think about it, why free preschools? Well, early child education, that's going to give someone a jump on life and help them move on up. The same with the college grants. And if I said what financial support and opportunities were, you'd know them. Food stamps, Medi-Cal, games program. It was all over the place. And this is a really good thing. And again, we've pretty much got it institutionalized in our society. The problem is this. I'm not a member of this group yet. And as much as I'd like to be, I'm not a member of this group up here yet either. Which means there has got to be a really big group of people right in the middle that we call Main Street families. I'm going to put it right in here. Now, a lot of people going, okay, are you just talking about middle America? What's a Main Street family? Well, yeah, it's a little bit of the same thing. But a Main Street family to me is someone who makes $30,000 a year, maybe even $250,000 a year, but is living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because if it stopped, how are they going to get by next? They don't have that unlimited money supply. So we end up right here, at least for the time being. Okay, but we want some things too, right? Do you want your kids going to preschool? How many have little kids? Robin, raise your hand. Anybody else? Damon, Ubi. Okay, you guys all have little kids. Robin's got twins. 7-month-old? 8-month? 7? Still? 7-month-old twins. Can you imagine when they're ready to go to preschool? Preschool's expensive. $600 per child on up. People have 2 and 3 kids. Oh my goodness, that's going to be tough. But do you know what? We do it. Why? Because it's important, right? So we want to give them every shot that we can. How about college? Anybody in here with college-age kids? All right. Expensive? Really expensive. Getting on the road to college, it's amazing. And it's going to up and up and up. I'm telling you, by the time those little kids are college age, it's going to cost close to $100,000 per child to get through college. Well, how do we do that? Because I don't know about you, but most of us don't have an extra $100,000 per child wandering around. Now, it's great if they can qualify for scholarship, but not everybody's going to. So we end up with student loans. And when those kids graduate out of college, they get to start paying it off. And they start backwards and trying to catch up and trying to catch up and trying to catch up. You know, it's funny, before I was in financial services, I was a dental hygienist. That's actually what my degree is in. And I still remember this patient that I had, and some of you have heard this story before, but it always comes to mind. I still remember sitting there working on her, that just doesn't sound right, does it? But working with her in the chair, okay. And asking her, because I did, she was about 17 years old at the time. It was the beginning, it was fall of her senior year. I said, where do you want to go to college? And she said, I want to go to Stanford. Well, as it happened, one of my really good friends' daughters was in Stanford right then, and they just were redoing some of their computer systems. So I knew a little bit of inside information, which was kind of nice, and I had no problem passing it on. And I did, and she did what I said, and she had good grades, and she got accepted. So the next time she comes back in, I said, how did it go? And she said, I got accepted. I said, that is fantastic. She goes, but I'm not going. We can't afford to. Now, I know that really bothered her, but I'm guessing it bothered her parents even more. It is what it is, though, right? That's just the way it is. Fine. How about business ownership? Anyone here ever dream of owning businesses? Yeah, quite a few of us, right? Is it costly? Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, it's not the amount of money that it takes to open the business. It's really the amount of money to stay in business long enough to make it successful. Anyone have an extra $500,000 wandering around just to make sure that you're going to be in business long enough? It's so interesting. I know so many businesses that have gone out. They open up and 9 months later, 12 months later, they're closed again because they didn't have the money to sustain it. So what do we end up doing? We end up working for someone else. Remember, I was a dental hygienist coming out of college. It's funny, my dad had always said to me, don't work for somebody else. You'll never get to where you want to go. And somehow in the back of my head, I put it back there. And I graduated out of college and I went to work for somebody else. Until years later, all of a sudden I realized, I said, wait a minute here. I'm not getting to where I want to go. I'm working to build somebody else's goals and dreams. Well, that's not really what I wanted to do. So I obviously made a change. But how many people just go ahead, be the manager, work to build their goals and dreams, and go, I'm fine. I'm fine. We're putting food on the table, keeping the wolves away from the door, paying all of our bills. We go on a vacation maybe once every year, every 2 years. I'm fine. Financial advice. I always wanted financial advice, and I'll bet you guys would feel the same way. Problem is, if all the good financial advisors are sitting up here, helping this group of people up here, who's helping us? Bigger problem. A lot of them don't get paid unless the person they're sitting down with has $250,000 to invest. The companies just don't pay them. And as crazy as that sounds, that actually came out about, gosh, I think 2013, 12 or 13, in January. One of the main companies out there, you would recognize the name in a second, literally told all their financial advisors, if your clients have less than $250,000, we will not pay. Crazy. So how are we getting the financial advice? So what's this really all about? Well, it's pretty much about that we don't have access. Bigger problem. We accept it. I want my kids to go to preschool, but I'm fine. Yeah, they can go to college, but maybe they should just go to community college first. It's fine. I want to have a business. But you know what? I got a great job. I'm fine. Or how about financial advice? Fine. I say it over and over and over again. The real question is why? Why is this all happening? Why isn't it changing? And I think the answer is in what we already do. We turn to what we know. We turn to the banks, the lenders, the life insurance companies, corporate America. But I have some questions for you, of course. Banks. Has anybody saved in a bank here and gotten 8, 10, 12% rate of return? No, oh, the wealthy get that. Don't we deserve to have that too? But we accept the 1% because our money's safe. How about lenders? Well, these two can almost be put together. Take a look at credit cards right out now, especially the store ones. Oh my goodness. 20, 22, 24, 26%, right? And they're supported by the banks. So we put our money in the banks. They turn around. They either make that 8, 10, 12% rate of return on it and give us what's left, or loan it right back to us at 20, 22, 24%. So these institutions were actually built for us. Do they have our best interest in heart? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure they do. How about corporate America? When was the last time that your boss came up to you and said, you know what? You're never going to get to where you want to go working for somebody else. Ever? Not in a million years, right? It just doesn't happen. What do they say instead? Just keep working hard. We'll promote you. We'll get there. Well, we bank on that. It's crazy. Who's knocking on our door, though? Who's telling us this stuff? Why are we doing this right now? Why am I going, there's a problem out here? Because I want everyone to realize it, because we can't fix a problem that we don't know about. And this is a real problem. And when we say that no one's even mad about it, what that really mean there is that we don't even realize it. Because remember, we're fine. It's just the way it is. We're fine until the point where it becomes real to us. And that's usually not until it becomes personal. Oh yeah, no, I know there's a problem out there. Yeah, I want a better rate of return. Oh yeah, absolutely. And we don't do anything about it. Oh yeah, I don't mind working a job until my husband gets laid off. And then we realize and go, oh, what's happening here? Or until kids are ready to go to college. And it's the first child of 3 or something. And you go, oh my gosh, I have to go through this 3 times? Now it's personal. Now we start to pay attention to it. Well, I got to tell you, there's a group of us here that said that's not right. That this is a problem that can be fixed. And we are absolutely convinced that we can fix it. Because it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's just a matter of when. So here's the cool news. I presented a problem to you. We all know that it's here. Are you guys up to it if we start to present a couple solutions? Be kind of cool? All right, so what I want to do is to do that, I want you guys to help me welcome Wade up here, and he's going to start to present one solution to you.
All right, yes, it'd be a terrible meeting if Sue was like, the fix is in, we're all in trouble, nothing can be done, right? And thankfully that's not true. So we do live in a very great place, a great country with a great system. The problem is that that system is just like any other system, has rules. And if you're playing by a different set of rules than everybody else, then you're going to get a different outcome. So what does this mean? Well, the issue is that the wealthy think and deal with their money differently than everybody else does. That's why they're wealthy, okay? There's this big misnomer that basically says that most wealth is inherited, right? 86% of millionaires are first generation. That means that it's actually 87%, so, but I round down. So let's just say it's 8 out of 10 millionaires that you meet. They did it, they started from scratch, and they created the wealth themselves, okay? So what does that mean? Well, that's a great stat for us because it means, look, it's not this idea where it's, oh, my parents have to make it, or the Rockefellers have to make it, and I can't have money. It's actually possible. The other thing that's really interesting too is there's this big illusion out there that that wealth is created through basically the entertainment system, or through sports, or through in the creative world. Like we're in Hollywood, you know, Hollywood's right down the street. We all think that all the millionaires in the world come from those places. But if you add up all of the wealthy in terms of all of the basketball and football players and baseball players and all of the entertainment people and all the people in Hollywood, they account for less than 1% of all millionaires in the United States. So there's this idea that's been fed to us that's just not true. It's the idea that there's nothing that we can do, right? Well, the first thing that we have to do is let's identify how the wealthy think about their money and what they do to create it. Well, the first thing the wealthy do is that they do lock in advances. So that 20% of people that inherit it, the reason why they inherit it is because their parents hire the lawyers, the accountants to make sure that they avoid the taxes when they die. They also make sure that there are trusts for their children to make sure to ensure their wealth, okay? The second thing they do is they develop habits. They know that if you do the right habits over a long period of time, you're going to get better results than if you try to work yourself out of a problem. It's very difficult to work our way into money. Do you know why that we know this? It's because this whole group that we talked about that's in the middle, that's how we're all trying to do it, okay? Everyone's trying to work as hard as they can to make money, and that's true. It takes hard work to make money, but you have to have the right habits with the work or you're just going to start spinning in circles, all right? The third thing they do is they leverage experts. They have no problem knowing that they don't know everything, okay? They don't spend time learning the tax system. They don't spend time learning how to do things that they can outsource to other people because they realize they need to be spending their time developing their habits to make wealth. They don't need to be spending their time learning the tax code, all right? And the other thing that they do as well is they cultivate strategic partnerships. They understand that no one ever accomplished anything by themselves, okay? Like, look, if you want to do something great, I don't care, there's a Steve Jobs movie that's out, right? It's all about, oh, Steve Jobs is so great. I haven't read the book, but here's what I know, all right? I know that Apple is not just one person. I know that there's factories in different countries. I know that there's thousands of people that work up in Palo Alto and Silicon Valley, and all those people may have been following one person's leadership, but he had to get them all to work together with him. And he had to create strategic partnerships with them. And so once we understand these things, and we don't have to do it all ourselves, and if we find people who are like-minded like us, then we know that we're going to be in a situation to start maybe thinking about our money differently, and maybe with our money being able to do the habits differently as well. So let's talk about the power of partnership. Sue talked about companies that said that if there are financial advisors, if you have less than $250,000, their financial advisors don't even get paid. So if I have less than $250,000 in liquid, is someone from Merrill Lynch going to call me if they don't get paid? Of course not. They have to feed their family. That's their job, right? They're not going to call me if I don't have that money, right? In fact, almost none of those services, financial service companies will assist you with your money. Well, Primerica is actually, not only do they focus on that middle group, it's the only group they focus on, all right? They've been in business since 1977. They have $3 billion in cash. And they have a track record of developing for Main Street families, that group that we call in the middle. Why is this important? Right? It doesn't do us any good. Remember, the wealthy, the way they think about their money, it doesn't do us any good if we have to figure it out all ourselves. We have to get help with what we're doing, and we have to have services that we get to employ, and Primerica is a company that does that for us. Now, the thing is that Primerica is just a company that's in Duluth, Georgia. Okay, there's 2,000 people there. They get up every day to create services for this middle group, right? But their job is not to teach the education. Their job is to provide the services. So let's talk a little bit about, well, how can we start to leverage these ideas that the wealthy have, right, in ourselves, before we're wealthy ourselves? The first one is we lock in advances for our family, okay? This is a very simple one. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this was called level term insurance. You guys are also serious. Did I like get everybody else serious all of a sudden? So I guess, well, I started talking about insurance, that's probably why. So, but let's just talk about insurance for 30 seconds, okay? I'm a farm boy from North Dakota. Neither of my family went to college, all right? Eventually, I was lucky enough to be able to go to graduate school. I went to law school, okay? However, my father did not have life insurance, but he did work really hard as a construction worker and do some different things. If he would have died young, let's say that I was an infant, right? Let's say that I was like 2 years old and my dad had passed away. There is no way that I would probably be a lawyer today. I would probably be in construction. There's nothing wrong with construction. My whole family's construction, right? But my whole life would have been different because my family would not have had the resources or the stress-free sort of time that my dad provided to help teach me how to get to where I was going to go, right? Does that make sense? So that doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with working in construction, right? But I'm just saying that my life would have been totally different because those advances would not have been locked in. All that level term insurance is just you borrow a big bag of money. If you die, they pay your family. So if something would have happened to my dad, then my mom could have been like, okay, you keep the plan. The plan is because and this is a fun thing. Is like this middle group of people. What they always say is they say, if you want to be wealthy, go be a doctor or a lawyer, right? That's what they always say. So my mom told me, she says, I didn't even know what a doctor or a lawyer was. I really don't like being a lawyer, actually, to be honest with you. But they told me that it was the path to wealth. It's not, okay? Just to let you guys know, all right? These principles are with it, but by itself, it's not. Anyways, enough of that. So level term insurance is the way that we can lock in advances for our family. The second thing we can do is develop habits. Well, there are something called a mutual fund, right? It's a very simple way to invest money. And basically what we teach is we teach something called dollar cost averaging, which is you just save a little bit amount of money every single month. If you are 18 years old, right, and you save $100 a month, and you never increase it from $100 a month, when you retire, you'll be a cash millionaire for $100 a month, okay? But why don't we know this? Why is it in every single high school with at graduation, everybody should be handed a pamphlet and says, we're not going to tell you what to invest in, but if you save $100 a month and invest in anything on the savings account, chances are really high you're going to have $1 million when you're 65. Why don't we do that, right? Well, the reason I don't know why we don't do it, all right? There's all sorts of conspiracy theories, but I think it is that people just don't care, okay? The people that are up here, they don't care, right? And the people that are in the middle are just trying to survive, right? And so we need to learn these things. The third thing basically is we need to leverage experts, all right? There's something that's called a managed account. A managed account is simply just it's an active money manager for your money. So when you get to have it on 25 grand in your mutual funds that you're saving for retirement, you have people actively managing your accounts, right? And we have access to that because we have 25,000 people that are licensed representatives that allow us to leverage these things basically and have the tools of the wealthy. Okay, now these things are about like services and money and all of that, and that's great, all right? We all need these things. We all need car insurance, right? We all need a plan for retirement, great. But here's the thing is that's what's really important what this room is about. This room is about cultivating strategic partnerships, all right? We have a very diverse group of people in here, right? We have all sorts of different professions. We have people from all sorts of different backgrounds, all right? But the most important thing is that we all have the same thing that we're pointed at. We're pointed at the idea of cultivating strategic partnerships. What that means is that we can accomplish more together than we can apart, all right? We need to find people that we can work together to accomplish our goals, to improve where we're at. And we can leverage that just like the wealthy can. We do that in two ways. One, well, we leverage Primerica and its services, which is the first three, right? But the second one is our advocates. We are all advocates for each other in this room. If we all agree that the problem that Sue identified is real and that there needs to be a solution, my life would be the same as my parents' life. My dad's 72 years old right now, and all he's stressed out about is money, right? He made a good amount of money during his life, but he knew nothing about what to do with his money. So now he's sitting there, and all he does is every time I talk to him, he's stressed out about money, right? Well, when I retire, because I learned some of these principles early enough, right, and my life is different, okay? Now, what I try to do is I try to teach people some of these principles so that they don't have to get in that same situation, or if they're on their way to the same situation, at least their children don't have to be in that situation, okay? So that's why our strategic partnerships are so important, because, again, no one ever accomplished anything by themselves, all right? And if you anything in terms of anything great, right? In terms of anything big, okay? And even if we want to do something as honorable as just like, you know what, Wade, all I want to do is retire, and that's all I want to care about, and I just want to do something and that's extremely honorable, then you're going to need some help to make that maybe a little bit easier, if that makes any sense, right? And that's all we try to do is we all try to stick together and cultivate strategic partnerships. So this is a 2 to 3 generation game plan. What that means is that from whenever you start in your family, if you pass this knowledge down and you develop this knowledge in your family, that means that your children or your grandchildren will be financially secure. Because they'll understand when they hit 18 years old, okay, I gotta start saving for retirement. They'll understand that when they have a newborn, that you can actually put money into a 529 plan before a baby is born, okay? And so these things right here are a solution to that problem that Sue talked about. And you don't have to write a song. You don't have to be good at sports. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do a movie in Hollywood to be able to have this kind of issues with your retirement. All you have to do is start to leverage these principles and apply them daily for the rest of your life. And the good thing is they're really simple. They're not that hard to do. You just have to do them a lot for a long time. Okay? So this is our 2 to 3 generation game plan. And obviously, this is sort of an overview of it. But like, look, I get fired up about this because I am a farmer's son. I'm a construction working on my dad's side, and my mom's side's all farmers, right? I didn't know any of this. Now I do. And I know that if my wife and I have children, that they're not gonna have to worry about this. All their retirement and stuff is handled. They're gonna know what to do. And to me, that's an exciting thing. So you guys are all serious. No, it's even a serious laugh. It's like a courtesy laugh, like all right, I'll get out of here. So right now I'm gonna bring up the great Robin Sears, though. She's gonna chat with you though about another solution that we have as well. So everyone, the great Robin Sears.
Where'd it go?
Oh.
Let's call it a preview.
Now we're laughing. Welcome, everybody.
I'm really excited that you guys are all here tonight. As many of you know, my husband often takes this spot at this time, so I really appreciate that you guys are all here to listen to me for a few minutes. You know, I was inspired today by a TED Talk that I was watching earlier, and a lot of people often ask me, what do you do? What do you do? And there are different ways that I describe what I do, and I listened to this talk this morning and I was like, oh, that's what I do. Isn't that fun when like you find those words to describe what you do? So let me tell you what I do. I help people get what they want. How cool is that for a job? Are you kidding me? I help people get what they want. I'm a teacher. I'm a coach. I've started companies. I've sold a company. And for the last 10 years, I've been a lawyer and an advisor to technological startups. I help people get what they want within reason. The lawyer in me has to add that a little bit, right? Whether you're in the boardroom, on a very rare occasion in the courtroom, I usually leave that to Wade. If you're in the living room, if you're across the kitchen table, or if you're in this very room, if I'm with you, I will do whatever is necessary to get what you want. Which only leads to one question. What do you want? Right? Can't help you if you don't know what you want. So I need to take a minute. Put aside the mission that we're talking about. Put aside what you just heard and think about what you really want. And I'm not talking about that like piece of chocolate cake that was, in the kitchen earlier today. I know, right? And I'm not talking about, the kitchen renovations that you might want to do, because those are all really nice and important, but I'm talking about that big want. Not the want that's in your head, the want that's in your gut. And you're not even telling it to anyone else. You don't have to worry about being judged. So don't judge yourself. Pick your want, don't analyze it. You know what you want. Most of the time we say we're not getting our wants, and it's often because we didn't actually pick it, or we don't really believe we can achieve it. Pretty interesting, right? Sue talked about people being stuck. 70 million families being stuck. And the problem being that they don't even know it. When I hear about folks being stuck, I have a vision of a friend who lost their job and can't pay the rent. I have a vision of my cousin whose car broke down and the car is sitting at the mechanic's because he doesn't have the $1,800 to pay to fix it. That's stuck. When I talk to folks and I talk about stuck, they often think of people who are worse off than themselves. And yet, if those were the only people who were stuck, it probably wouldn't be 70 million folks we're talking about, right? So there's something else going on. And Sue really, really, really honed in on the real enemy. And the real enemy, the real reason that we're stuck comes down to one word. And there it is. That's right, folks, the F-bomb. We'll just shut the front door, huh? We see this word everywhere. We hear it all the time. We say it all the time. It doesn't really tell you how we're feeling, but we're drawn to it. We're compelled by it. And of course, the word I'm talking about is fine. I'm fine. How are the kids? They're fine. How's the job? It's fine. How's life going? Fine. Everything's just fine. And what's the real problem with fine? Fine doesn't move you to change. Fine doesn't get you to reach higher. Fine doesn't get you to your wants. My husband describes fine as effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. How many of us want to be fine now? Not so many. It's all in the way that we look at it, right? Are we really fine? Are you really fine working 80 hours a week for minimum wage? Are you really fine saying you're going to work until you're 90 at a job that you don't really want to do? Are you really fine with the idea that Wade talked about? Important to have a 2 to 3 generational plan, right? But if I put in place a 2 to 3 generational plan, that means that my grandkids at Thanksgiving will toast to the portrait on the wall of Grandma and Grandpa who made sure that they were taken care of. And I'm not fine with that. So I needed something else. I needed a 1 generation game plan. That's what I was looking for. Because I wasn't fine with it. And I wanted to accomplish my wants. You know, see, as we talked about, simply working hard and saving money will not get you financially free. We know this. It's math. We pay taxes in this country. You cannot earn enough money and invest enough money in your lifetime to get financially free. Now, the good news is you can get financially secure. You can save and invest enough to make sure that at retirement, you can replace your income and maintain your lifestyle if you follow the 4 principles. If you have a game plan that you put into action. And you will not get financially free. You will not have the time and the money to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want it. That's financial freedom. And so you're here tonight so I can hand you a key. And what you do with that key is up to you. What door you may choose to unlock is up to you. But it's my job to give you the key. Because the key to financial freedom, as many folks in here know, is ownership. Rod's got to be shaking his head at that, right? You got to own in America. I don't even care what you own. It's not about owning a business that we're talking about, this Primerica business. It's about owning anything. Because as Wade pointed out so eloquently, and as Sue pointed out, you gotta own in order to be in charge of your own destiny. You gotta own in order to make enough money in this country to get financially free. And I wouldn't be able to stand up here in integrity if I didn't also have a viable option for ownership. So this really is about saying, we're all here to get the key, and I want to offer you a door. And it's got to be viable. And so we said, what would we need to provide a viable option? Number one, we got to be able to harness that Main Street entrepreneur spirit. Because there are those of us who don't necessarily identify as entrepreneurial spirit, but we've got that fire inside of us. And we're thinking there's something else. I know I want to accomplish my wants. And we needed a place to be able to do that. We had to have a leverageable support system. Those of us who are in here who have an entrepreneurial spirit don't necessarily know how to run the HR department, the marketing department, the sales department, and close the deals all at the same time. We needed a support system that we could turn to have a viable option for ownership. And finally, a transitional path. We needed to be able to stay in our jobs to pay our bills while we were pursuing our dreams. These were critical. See, we are a business incubator designed on purpose to create and sustain high-level entrepreneurs. You're like, Robin, that sounds really cool. What the heck is that? Right? I have people who always look at me like, because they have no idea what it is. So let's break it down because we have a teacher in the room, so she'll appreciate this. Okay, definition of business incubator. An organization geared towards speeding up the growth and success of startup and early stage companies. How cool to have a partner on your side to help you speed up the growth and success of your company. That's what a business incubator is. And what's an entrepreneur? This is my favorite. I got this shirt from the Entrepreneurial Center in San Francisco. I'm working on a curriculum for them. They're going to pay me lots of money to develop a curriculum that you guys get access to when you come here. How cool is that? Entrepreneur. Ready? Someone who's willing to sacrifice sleep, sanity, and savings to grow an idea because that's just how they're wired. Or a dreamer, problem solver, doer, and risk taker. See also a decision maker, coffee maker, and multitasker. That's what an entrepreneur is. See, we meet people of all kinds, of all types who come through our doorway. They're teachers, they're firefighters, they're mechanics. And they don't know that they're entrepreneurs because they've never labeled it as entrepreneurism. But they feel it deep inside. And we said, we've got to create a place where those folks could successfully grow a business, where they were in business for themselves to accomplish their wants, but not by themselves. That's why we are a business incubator designed on purpose to create and sustain high-level entrepreneurs. This is a big problem we're talking about, right? 70 million families are stuck. We're all in agreement that that's the case. We know that in order to make the difference, we had to look at why folks are stuck. See, the system created the stuck part. Those of us in the middle pay the taxes that take care of the grants and free money at the bottom, and we buy the goods and services of the folks at the top. That system creates and perpetuates stuckness. That's my new word of the day, stuckness. You like that? But you know what? There's only one thing that can get us unstuck. Ourselves. It can only happen here. Because no one else is coming to get us unstuck. We've established that. So we know that this is a grassroots effort that we have to make. And we had to come together and we needed to create a place for everyone and a role for each of us. See, if you're listening to the information tonight and you're saying, yeah, this is pretty important information. I think people should hear this. Then you are what we call an ally. You can understand and support the mission we have of closing the gap for Main Street families. Rod, Brittany, you were invited here tonight as an ally. Because the better you understand what this person's committed to, the better you can support them. And what we know is the more support that we have, the more likely any of us are to succeed in what we're trying to accomplish. So our first goal was to grow an army of allies. And then there are some folks sitting here, Claudia's like, God, you know, I've been listening to this, and I just met this guy today, and he really should hear this. This might really be something that he'd be interested in. And that's our advocate. See, if you knew great people that wanted to do something special, if you're open to recommending them to talk to the person who invited you here today, you're an advocate. Our allies are there to support us, to say, that boy, I'm here for you. Our advocates are here to say, I want to be a part of the solution. I'm on a great path, and I'm going to help you by finding people, by supporting the people that I see, and making an introduction. And then there are some of us who said, if you could find something that was real, credible, in alignment with who you are, that you could make a real impact and accomplish your wants, would you be open? And those are our associates. Potential associates, committed associates. I'm a committed associate because I found something that would allow me to accomplish my want. Can I share my want with you? Yes. Yeah. You're up for that? It's kind of crazy. You know, it's always dangerous sharing your want because it can be a little embarrassing. Because you share your want And some people look at you like, are you crazy? You think you can accomplish that? And if you think that the want that you thought of earlier, someone would look at you and say, are you crazy? It's the right want. Right? See, Brittany's like, yo, hell yeah. So let me tell you my want. And I really appreciate, the trust that we've developed in our long friendship. My want is to change the world. I want to create disruptive generational change that will guarantee that no child and no student will ever miss going to preschool or college because their parent makes too much money for them to qualify for free money and not enough money to pay for it. That's what I want. And see, I'm a lawyer. And apparently the lawyer are the wealthy folks, right? We're doing okay when it comes to money. But to accomplish my want, I couldn't do it being a lawyer. I needed to be an entrepreneur. That's what I needed to accomplish my want. And so I looked for an alternative. So I want to spend a couple minutes sharing with you what the opportunity is here, the entrepreneurial opportunity. And I'm going to ask you to listen if you're an ally. Because if you're an ally, you can better support your friend if you really understand the opportunity that they're going after. And I want you to listen if you're an advocate. Because you're going to be better able to identify the folks that you can recommend as you're a part of the solution if you really understand the entrepreneurial opportunity. And if any part of you says, I think I could really get into this. I think I could accomplish my wants here. You really want to listen to think about what the real potential opportunity is. Because that's what I did. See, when I was 22, my best friend, now my husband, came across this opportunity with Primerica. And when I heard about it, I said, yeah, you can go sell insurance. I'm going off to the tech world. Clearly, I missed a few things. Fortunately, at 39, I had a new opportunity to re-look at what was going on here. And at this time, I wasn't a 22-year-old kid. I was a very successful, thankfully, entrepreneurial lawyer at one of the top firms in the country. And I put on my entrepreneurial hat, and I put on my lawyer glasses, which meant that I questioned everything. I drove my husband nuts. It's my job to question everything, right? Wade, as a lawyer, we look under every rock. And then when you tell us, we're like a 2-year-old. We're like, well, why is that? Right? Well, but why? And let me tell you what I found. I was looking for an opportunity, and I know how to look at whether an opportunity is viable, because that's how I decide if I'm going to take on a client. And I said, okay, what's the market? My husband looked at me and he said, 70 million families are stuck and they don't know it. And I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good size. It turns out that a third of American reports being dissatisfied with their life. Let me tell you how not fine we are. That's 100 million people. We are highly underestimating how big this market really is. I was like, okay, it's a pretty good sized market. How about the competition? Right, you always look at competition. He said, yeah, there's no competition. I was like, oh, please. Everything has competition. And he was like, okay, well, let's talk about the competition. Just what Sue said. The bank's going to do it. Other lenders going to do it. Is corporate America going to do it? And I was like, what do you know? There's no competition. No one else is coming. And even if there is competition, no one else is talking to the person that I'm talking to. It's like, this is all sounding pretty good. Okay, I got to go get money, right? In my world, you've got to have a venture capitalist. You have to have an angel investor. You've got to write a check. And he was like, nope, low capital entry. Here's the deal. It costs money to get your licenses to do this business. We have a partner, a strategic partner in Primerica. Primerica says, you invest a little bit in your future and we'll invest a lot. You cover your background check and you cover the tools and resources that we're going to provide, and $125 later, you got a company. And we're going to give you all of the resources to make you successful. Seriously? I mean, that sounded pretty cool, right? So tell me a little bit more about this Primerica, right? Super skeptical. We have this partnership platform. Primerica, as Wade talked about, is an expert in financial services. I looked under the covers and under every rock. This is a company that has billions of dollars and zero debt on its balance sheet. You cannot find a tech company that has that. This is a company whose checks will never bounce. And this is a company dedicated to the group of folks that I wanted to help. So this is pretty cool. And then it turns out there's this back office system. And the back office says, we recognize that most companies go out of business because they're trying to be all things to all people. And it's hard, right, Rod? But if someone said, Rod, I'm going to take away all the administrative things, all of the follow-up, all of the fires, so that you can do what you're good at, which is selling what's important to you to make the difference in the health and wellness of people, that might sound pretty good. That's what our back office support is about. And then there's the team. We get to leverage as strategic partners amongst each other. We get to support each other as entrepreneurs. That sounds really good too. And I was like, okay, big market, check. Competition, none, check. Low capital to entry, check. Great support system, check. But can I make money? Because if I can't get a special return on investment, it's not worth it to me. I'm a lawyer. Doing pretty well. And I was looking for a very specific kind of return on investment. Not just revenue, but passive income and profit. Because see, the day I stop working is the day I stop getting $1 coming in. But if I have an opportunity to leverage investments and to leverage a team, then the day I stop working on this business, the money keeps coming in. And that was critical for financial freedom. So we said, okay, we need a role for all of us, right? And it turns out that when we started talking to folks, when Primerica started talking to folks, we were like, okay, there's different kinds of associates. There were a lot of people who said, yeah, I want to get involved. But there are some folks who were like, I don't really want to grow a whole business. I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference in the lives of others by making a difference in my life. And so we've got our GAPs, our Gathering Asset Partners. Interestingly enough, 10,000 people are turning 65 every day for the next 19 years. That's a lot of people. And you know what's really special about this group? Most people don't know this. This is the first group ever, first generation with a 401k. Their parents had pensions. Their parents were able to rely on Social Security. And what we learned from Wade and Sue is that we operate generation after generation. The next generation turns to the last generation for what to do with their money. This is the first generation whose Social Security checks will not be enough to cover their expenses, and who are going to get a chunk of money the day that they retire that they will have no idea what to do with. Now, the lawyer in me says this is ripe for exploitation. All those financial advisors who never wanted to talk to you before, let me tell you how quickly they want to talk to you when you suddenly have $250,000 come in. But they're not there to protect you. They're not there to teach you how to take that chunk of money and to make sure that it lasts the way that the pension lasted for your parents. That's what our Gathering Asset Partners are about. They identify those folks. They leverage our team to support those folks. And if they are able to gather $1 million in assets, we'll pay about $4,300 a year in passive income. When I talk to people who say, yeah, you know what, I'm interested in this. This is really interesting to me. I talk about, okay, if you can gather $1 million in assets under management, $4,300 a year, well, what are you going to do over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? You have a real opportunity to gather serious assets in a matter of 5 years from the numbers that we've seen here. You can make more money than the average Social Security paycheck. Now, some people are like, an extra $1,200, extra $1,500. We may not be talking about tens of thousands of millions of dollars, but an extra $1,500 can be the difference between the location you live. It can be the difference of whether you take your family to Disneyland these days, right? It can be the difference of whether you have that extra bedroom for the 4 kids. That matters. And then we said, okay, we've got our part-timers. These are folks who say, I don't want to wait to make that extra $500 or $1,000. I'm on a path, and part-time, I'm going to make a difference when it makes sense for me, when I come across someone who I can help, so that I can get a little bit more money in my pocket, a little bit more spending money at Christmas, a little bit more savings for my retirement. We have our part-time to full-timers. These are folks who say, I want to learn how to grow a business. And I'm going to do it while I'm taking care of my family. And we have our entrepreneurs. Me. We're the ones who say we really want to grow a business. We really see how this is how we can accomplish our wants through passive income, revenue, and profit. So there is a place for everyone and a role for all of us, even as an associate. But I wouldn't be doing my job, and I wouldn't be really sharing with you what got me if we don't really take a look at what the true potential on that return on investment is. So let's take a little look for a minute. Okay. If I build an office, and that office helps 30 families a month, I can make $12,000 to $16,000 a month. Not 100 families, not 200, not 500 families, just 30 families a month. While I'm helping those families, I'm finding assets to invest for them. If I have $15 million in assets under management, that will pay me $8,300 a month in passive income. This was important, right? I needed the passive income option. That means that as that money grows, I get paid on that money without doing any more work. If my team has $30 million in assets under management, I get another $8,300 a month in passive income. This potential was sounding pretty good when I saw it. Now, if I build a team with a team that helps 15 families a month establish habits, not 500, 15 families lock in advances for financial security, I get paid $6,200 a month, $72,000 a year in profit. So I don't know about y'all, but I did some math. And I was like, okay, if I've got one of those, that's $72,000 a year. If I can get 2 leaders, that's $144,000 a year. If I can find 3 entrepreneurs, and I'm pretty good at finding entrepreneurs, $210,000 a year. 4, 5, $350,000 a year. So by helping 30 families, 15 families, and growing the assets under management, I have the potential to make $200,000 plus $200,000 plus $350,000, $750,000 a year. A check written by Primerica. These checks don't bounce. Do you think with $750,000 a year you might be able to accomplish a few wants? I think you would renovate a lot of kitchens. And this was only helping 30 families. I, of course, was like, well, what can I do if I have 100 families a month, right? But a lot of people sit here and they're like, really? $750,000 a year, yeah, that sounds all good. And I've been to a meeting like this before, and they all promise the world, right? And then you're like, I mean, maybe that girl that's standing up there, she seems pretty confident. Maybe she could pull it off. But I certainly cannot pull off what she's talking about. Let me tell you something. Do you know the likelihood that you're sitting in that chair right now, that you were born on the day you were born to the parents that you were born to is? See, scientists crunched this. And the likelihood that you were born on the day that you were born to the parents you were born to is 1 in 400 trillion. David liked that one. So the likelihood that you could actually potentially make $750,000 a year here is certainly greater than the likelihood that your butt is sitting in that chair right now. And guess where you are? You're in the chair. See, the potential is here because the plan is in place. You just need to know how to do it and what to do. That's what we teach in here. So I'm going to wrap up because I promised this man that he'd be out of here in an hour. We've talked about some simple concepts tonight. Important and yet simple. 70 million families are stuck. They don't know it. They don't have access to the tools and resources that they need, and no one is coming to help them. There is a solution if they apply the thinking and the doing of highly successful people to get financially secure. There is a one-generation option to financial freedom called ownership. And we have a viable path that someone can walk through. And we have an approach to support any entrepreneur on any path that they're on by leveraging our business incubator in order to accelerate their growth. And we have a way for you to support this very critical problem that we and only we can solve for ourselves and our families and our country. Whether it's as an ally, as an advocate, or as an associate. We need to get unstuck. We have a right to accomplish our wants. But it requires something very important. You ready? We have to force ourselves to do it. A lot of people don't like when I use the word force. They're like, don't tell me what to do, Robin. Because I said force. But it's true. It's science. David and Janice know this. There are lots of ways to talk about how the brain works. But one of two ways is it's broken into parts. One is called autopilot, and the other one's called the emergency brake. We go, 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 go. And then we think of a new idea. We hear about a new opportunity. We see about something, then we can do it. And we're like, pull the brake. Because the brain's like, no, that's new. It's uncomfortable. Get me back on autopilot now. This is what happens. The only thing that can stop us from pulling the emergency brake or from putting that brake down is force. We have to force ourselves to do it. Imagine for a moment that tomorrow you set your alarm clock for 30 minutes earlier than you plan to get up. That alarm goes off and you're in your warm, cozy bed. It's kind of a little cold out there and you're still kind of tired. You're like, oh, Robin told me to get out of bed. I don't even know her that well and I feel compelled to do it anyway. And you throw off the covers and you climb out of bed. And it was a tough 3 seconds. And then you have the most productive 30 minutes of your entire life. That's the force that I'm talking about. I'm going to give you a quick freebie. And my team's going to laugh because I'm telling this to everybody because I'm obsessed with it. If you're in here, it's because you tend to stick to your commitments because you committed to be here. And when we don't stick to our commitments, we don't feel all that great. Well, for any of you who've ever hit the snooze button or who are snooze buttoners in here, when you hit the snooze button, you are starting your day breaking a commitment to yourself. Think about that for a minute. I don't know about you, but that's not how I want to start my day. I'm telling you, you're never gonna hit the snooze button again. You're gonna curse me for the rest of your life, but you will not hit that snooze button, because when you go to hit it, I want you to think, do I want to start my day breaking a commitment to myself? Don't you deserve more than that? That was my little freebie. So this is the force, right? It's the force that gets you out of bed when you don't want to. It's the force that stops you from grabbing that donut. I keep talking about donuts and chocolate cake. Can you tell what I really want? Right? When you're not, when you really, really, really know that that's not what's best for your health and for your body, it's the force that gets you to talk to that one more client. That's the force that I'm talking about. And in here, we've got to leverage our force for collective energy to make a difference. Stop hitting the snooze button on your life. Be the entrepreneur of your journey. Respond to your impulses. As a team. That's why we're here. So I got 2 things for you, and then you're out of here. Rod's like, this is the part where they freaking asked me to do something. I knew she was going to ask me to do something. I am. I'm going to ask you to do something. Number 1. If you don't know your financial independence number, if you don't know how long it's going to take you to get debt-free and how you're going to do it, and if you don't know how to lock in advances for your family, use the key, open the door, get with the person who invited you tonight, and get a plan. The plan is free. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to your family. Use the force. I keep waiting for Wade to make some kind of Star Wars comment. Right? There's got to be a good Yoda thing in here. It's on my wall. That's number 1. Number 2, share the story you heard tonight with one other person. Be a part of the solution. Just one. We're here tonight. We're here every Saturday for trainings. We get together as a group of entrepreneurs. We come in jeans, we roll up our sleeves, and we learn how to grow a business together. We learn the critical skills we need to have the wants that we want in our life. And we support each other to move forward. And then we're back here next Wednesday, October 21st. If you heard something tonight that moved you, if you think there's someone in your life who could benefit from hearing our story, from knowing that every week we come and share new ideas and ignite the force and energy within us, I invite you to bring them back, to bring them here next Wednesday. And in exchange, I offer this to you. I help people get what they want by any means necessary, within reason. If there's something that I personally can do to help you accomplish your want, come and talk to me after the meeting and just ask. Next week, I'm going to share my 5-second rule, and you're not going to want to miss it. Thank you very much. Music. There it is. Okay, I'm 10 minutes over, Rod. I owe you 10 minutes of time. You get 10 minutes of legal advice.
I didn't know that.
I know, but I said free.
Oh, really?
Oh, good.
That's exciting.